welcome to The Explainer. We hear a lot of buzzwords in the business world, right? Well, today we're diving into one that's a pretty big deal: measuring and managing knowledge. Sounds a bit dry, I know, but stick with me. What does it actually mean, and why should you care? Let's break it down. All right, let's just jump right in with a tough question. Think about your company, your team. Are you really ready to compete in what everyone's calling Industry 4.0? With technology and the market changing at lightning speed, it feels like a constant battle just to keep up, doesn't it? And here's another one for you. Think about that one person in your office, the veteran, the one who just knows how everything works. What happens when they retire or take another job? All of that experience, all those little tricks of the trade. Does your company's most valuable asset literally just walk out the door every single evening? Well, here's the reality check. In today's world, just having a great product isn't enough anymore. The real key to not just surviving, but actually thriving is tapping into the brainpower of your entire team. It's about harnessing that collective knowledge to stay ahead of the curve. Okay, so that's the goal, but how do you actually do that? Well, there's a whole discipline dedicated to it, and that's the solution we're looking at today: knowledge management. It's all about turning what your people know into a real, tangible competitive advantage.
So what is knowledge management when you get right down to it? Well, think of it as a continuous cycle. It's about creating new insights, sharing them effectively, structuring them so they're easy to find, and even checking up on them to make sure they're still useful. The whole point is to make your entire organization smarter and more effective. Okay, but what's in it for you? The payoff is huge. We're talking about making your whole operation run smoother. It's about making sure that incredible internal knowledge we mentioned doesn't just disappear. And maybe most importantly, it's about building a culture where learning is just part of the DNA, so you can use what you know to hit those big, ambitious goals. This all sounds great in theory, but how do you learn to put it into practice? Let's pull back the curtain and get a sneak peek at what you'd actually be doing. Here's a look at the itinerary for day one, where it's all about building the foundations. First things first, you have to understand what you're even working with, and this is fundamental. They break down the difference between data, information, and knowledge. See, data is just raw facts, kind of useless on its own. Information is when you organize that data to give it context. But knowledge? Knowledge is the holy grail. That's information mixed with human experience and insight. That's the gold. And look, this is not going to be some boring lecture. They get you learning through things like gamification to understand concepts like the SCI model, a really cool framework for how knowledge is shared. And best of all, you'll be in groups tackling real-world challenges that you probably face every single day back at the office.
Then they dive into probably the most critical part: culture and leadership. Because let's be honest, none of this works without the right environment. Through exercises like role play, you actually get to step into the shoes of a knowledge leader and see how your decisions can either build up or break down a learning organization. So that's day one, all about the foundation. Day two is where the rubber really meets the road. This is when you shift from understanding the what and why to mastering the how. We're talking strategy and tools. And it's not just a random collection of tips. They lay out a clear step-by-step process. You start with discovering the knowledge you already have. Then you organize it, share it, and encourage people to reuse it. And that fuels the creation of even more knowledge. It's a powerful, self-sustaining cycle. And the key thing to know about day two is this: it is hands-on. This is not a passive experience. The whole point is that you're not just going to learn the theory. You're going to be actively applying it. So what does that look like? For starters, you'll be digging into real business case studies, seeing what works and what doesn't. You'll also learn how to pick the right tools for the job. And that includes high-tech stuff like data mining, but also powerful low-tech tools that we sometimes forget about, like mentoring and the simple art of storytelling. So who is this actually for? Who's going to get the most out of this? Well, this program is really designed for the people who are gonna lead the charge, the future leaders and the catalysts for change inside their organizations. And that doesn't just mean one department. We're talking about people from HR, marketing, finance, senior management, really anyone whose job involves making the organization smarter. If you've been tasked with managing how your company learns and grows, this is aimed squarely at you. When you boil it all down, what's the ultimate goal? It's captured perfectly right here: to create a learning culture. A place where sharing what you know isn't a chore, it's encouraged. A place where if you want to learn something, it's easy to do so. Sounds simple, but getting there, that's the real challenge.
So that leaves us with the final question, and it's for you. After hearing all this, are you ready to step up? Are you ready to become a knowledge leader in your organization? It's a big question for sure, but if you're serious about future-proofing your company, it might be the most important one you ask yourself all year.